Hello there, explorers of the fog, and welcome back to Thorgiween, our annual tradition where I look at spooky games for an entire week while also reassuring everyone at home that, don't worry, the next part of the Street Fighter retrospective is indeed on the way. Don't worry, it's already in the works. It's going to come out this month. It's not being delayed or anything. I just wanted to talk about spooky games for a little bit because 'tis the season. So, yesterday on Thorgiween, we talked about that brand new Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, and I went on a little bit of a tangent in which I talked about how it kind of bugs me that every single big AAA horror game out there is trying to be a live service. I mean, every single movie tie-in is being a live service, but then you still got things like Resident Evil over there putting out single-player games, but always attached to a live service. Everyone is trying to jump on that live service bandwagon, but there's one horror game out there that has been a live service for the past 7 years, and yet it's been a success. It's been heavily praised by its fan base. It's continuously grown over the course of several years, bringing in tons of massive IPs and gain attention from all different corners of the gaming world. So maybe there's something to it. I'm of course talking about Dead by Daylight, and after wagging my finger at the idea of horror live service games yesterday, maybe I should actually check this game out and see if there's something there. And after checking it out, maybe I should also put an additional 300 hours into this game. I have a problem. Yes, when talking about multiplayer horror games, Dead by Daylight has been the reigning champ for several years now. Heck, forget horror games, this has been one of the most popular and profitable live service games of the past 7 years, no matter what genre it is. And you know something? I'm not even going to try and hide how I feel about this game for later in this video. I love Dead by Daylight. I played it on and off ever since it first got released, but in the last 2 years, I've gotten addicted to this title, pumping hundreds of hours into it. I love this game. And I know that saying Dead by Daylight is my favorite multiplayer horror game is kind of like saying my favorite baseball team is the Yankees. Oh, really? Your favorite is the one that spent the most money? How bold of you. But what can I say, it's true. In fact, I've been wanting to talk about this game for years, and have even gotten requests to talk about it from multiple fans ever since our very first Thorgiween a couple years back. Well, you know what? I'm tired of waiting. So today, we're going to delve into this title as I try and explain why exactly I love it so much, despite its many problems. Now, even though this game has been a juggernaut for years now, I know there's still plenty of people out there who have never played it, so let's quickly cover the basics. In Dead by Daylight, you play as either one of 4 survivors or a killer. The survivor finds themselves in various maps, but the objective on each of them is the same. Repair 5 generators so that way you can power up a door, open the door, and then escape. And as the killer, your role is to knock the survivor down, then pick them up, carry them over to a hook where they can then be sacrificed to a giant space spider thing called the Entity. Yeah, there's a whole lot of crazy lore to this game that I'll get to later. Now, it takes 2 hits for a character to go down, and after they're knocked down, there's still a chance that you can wiggle free of the killer's grasp, but that's gonna take a lot of wiggling. It's really hard to pull that off. Then when you're on the hook, there are 2 stages to it. In the first stage, you just have to sit there and wait for someone to rescue you, or you can sacrifice some of your timer on the hook to try and escape yourself, although it's very rare, it's only like a 3% chance. Once enough time has passed, you'll enter into a danger state where the Entity is now trying to attack you on the hook and you have to press buttons to hold them off. And if you aren't rescued by another player in time, then you're sucked up and it's game over. Now, you also go from one of these states to another each time that you're put on a hook, so even if you are rescued the next time you're put on the hook, you're immediately in the danger zone, and if you've been hooked twice already, then that's it. 3 strikes and you're out. You get put on that hook a 3rd time, it is instantly over. And as you can imagine, the more survivors die, the harder it will be to repair all those generators. However, there is an out if you're the final survivor. Even if no generators are fixed, if you're the final survivor, a hatch will appear somewhere on the map. And if you find it, then you can jump into it and escape. So if you're a killer, then you might feel like you're doing really well, but then if you get down to the final character, you're gonna start sweating again because that final character now has an instant chance of escaping. Although, if you're the killer, you can find the hatch first and then close it. But if you do that, it instantly powers up the gates, and the survivor can then try and escape through them, still giving them a slim chance of being able to get out of there. Now, the survivors can't fight back against the killers, which I know is a turnoff for a lot of players, but there are ways to escape them. You can jump over windows to help create distance, hide in lockers, and you can also drop pellets or shine lights in their face to stun them. Also, while the survivors see things in the third person, the killer only sees things in the first person, so it is possible to hide from them. And if you're really good with the survivors, then you can juke around them when they try and swing at you to hide in their blind spot, giving you time to escape. I've put nearly 300 hours into this game, and I still haven't figured out how to do that. However, the killer has their own abilities to help them find you. While the survivors have to search for generators, the killer can see them all at all times. So when there's only 1 or 2 left to repair, it's pretty easy to keep monitoring where the survivors could be. And when a survivor runs, they leave scratch marks and the killer can track them, which actually adds a lot of tension to playing as the survivor, because you want to run from the killer as fast as you can. But if you do that, it becomes harder to escape them. You have to decide when to run and when to hide and how to do it. That's something that I have to give this game credit for. I applaud Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the last episode for making a genuinely tense experience, and this game succeeds at that as well. When you're repairing a generator, you of course want to keep looking around for the killer. However, while you're repairing that generator, QuickTime events will randomly appear, and if you mess it up, then the generator will explode, lowering your repair progression, but more importantly, alerting the killer to your location. This makes repairing these generators a very stressful process. You have no idea if a killer could pop up at any moment, but if you spend too much time looking for them, then you could miss a QTE, and now they know exactly where you are. And there's so many other small details that makes this game creepy. I love how when the killer is close to you, you can hear your heart beating faster and sinister music starts rising, making you look around and quickly trying to find a place to hide, but not too quickly because then you'll leave scratch marks and now you're dead. But all that is just the basics. That's how the game begins for everyone. But as you play, you'll earn credits that you can use to progress your skill tree, called the Blood Web, because of course it is. And by doing this, you'll unlock items and perks that you can give your characters. Now, there are generic perks that everyone can get, but then each character has their own unique perks that give them abilities just for them, making each character feel different. However, once you rank a character up to level 50, then their perks can appear on everyone's Blood Web. So if you level a character up enough, you can start mixing and matching all over the place, and these perk combinations, well, they don't break the game, but they can fundamentally change it. If you ever decide to go deep diving into Dead by Daylight YouTubers, you'll find people cooking up crazy perk combinations, going full mad scientist with it. For example, I'll just give you all a quick tip for free right now. If you want to play as the killer, rank up the Hillbilly all the way first. He's got a perk that makes it so that survivors can't stun you with bright lights, and nothing feels quite as good as when a survivor tries to blind you with a flashlight, and you just keep walking at them like Dio. And in case you guys are wondering, I said in the last episode when we were talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I vastly prefer playing as the survivors in that game. In here, I enjoy playing both sides for different reasons. I enjoy the more tense experience that I get with the survivors, and it does get my adrenaline pumping hard, but it also feels like victory is an all or nothing situation. Even if I repaired 2 or 3 generators all by myself, I know I should feel good about that. I know I should feel like I contributed a whole lot to the team, but it still doesn't feel like I won unless I end up escaping. But with the killer, yeah, as long as I end up getting 1 or 2 kills, I still feel like I did something. But more importantly, as I said, you can take the perks from every single character you've ranked up and give them to all the other characters. So when it comes to the survivors, you can basically customize everyone to be the exact same. And at that point, it's just a matter of what character skin you want the most. But when it comes to the killers, yeah, they all have their own unique perks that they can end up sharing with all the other characters, but each killer still has their own specific ability that only they have. And I think that might be why I enjoy playing as the killers a little bit more. There's a far greater variety to the gameplay. You got some characters with simple abilities like the Hillbilly who can just instantly knock you down with his chainsaw, or you've got the Trapper who can place, well, traps all around the stage. But then you get really weird stuff like the Dredge, who can not only teleport to closed lockers around the stage, but occasionally they just drop all the characters into the Shadow Realm, making it impossible to see anything. And that's what I love about this game so much. It's the customization. Not that, although I will be getting to that in just a second. No, I mean it's the variety of how you can play the game. The thing that makes a multiplayer game feel great to me, whether it be anything from a team-based shooter to a fighting game, is expression. It's being able to find a character that makes you say, oh, that one. That's the moveset and the character that speaks to me. And yeah, Dead by Daylight easily succeeds at that. Personally, there's a ton of characters that I enjoy using, but my favorite has to be the Huntress. Her axe throws are a ton of fun, and speaking of someone who hates it when an opponent drops a pallet between the two of you to try and play Ring Around the Rosie and keep you from reaching them, being able to just say, nope, does feel really good. Not to mention, when you nail someone from half court, ooh, chef's kiss, ooh, there's nothing like that. From downtown! Oh, she's on fire! And on the other end of that coin, there's no character that will just work for everyone. For example, I enjoy following Dead by Daylight talk on YouTube, and everyone I watch keeps saying that the nurse is broken. The nurse is too strong. You need to nerf the nurse. I suck with the nurse. The nurse is easily my worst character. Earlier this year, I decided I finally wanted to platinum this game, and getting all of the nurse's trophies drove me insane. I swear I only got one of them because of either dumb luck or the other player decided to just let me have it. These were easily the hardest trophies for me to get. Well, that and the trophy for opening a hatch with a key. Oh my god, I was actually shaking when I finally got that trophy. To all the Dead by Daylight YouTubers out there who keep telling everyone, this trophy is actually fairly easy to get. You are lying, it is not easy to get. Sorry. My point is, this cast encourages you to experiment with them because you'll want to find that character that works for you, and any multiplayer game that can make you do that, that's a win in my book. Now, with everything that I just talked about, I know that this game can sound like a lot to take in. Maybe even a little bit intimidating. But that's what makes Dead by Daylight so good to me. And I'd even say it's one of the main reasons this game has been so successful over the years. It's really not that hard. It's incredibly new player friendly. In the last 2 years, I got addicted to this game. It finally clicked with me and I started putting tons of hours into it. But I've owned it ever since the game first came out, I just didn't give it much of a shot before then. But I would log in every few months whenever something caught my eye, whenever a new character got added that I thought was interesting, or whenever they had a Halloween event. But every time that I would log in, it had always been so long since the last time that I would have forgotten how to play. I would always have to relearn how to play this game every single time that I picked it up. But that's no problem because you can learn this game in less than a minute. Just press a few buttons as soon as you land, then when you go up to an object and it says hit this button to interact, hit that button to interact. Done. And this game is constantly adding new killers who each have their own unique gimmicks, but again, you can learn them almost instantly. Oh, Freddy Krueger is now in this game? Well, I don't know what he does, but now every so often, the world just turns dark and gray, but then something starts glowing on my screen, and if I go up to that glowing object and interact with it, now I'm out of the gray world. I don't really understand what just happened, but I do understand that's the thing I need to do, so I'm just going to keep doing that. I hear people constantly asking why games like Fortnite do so well, but other multiplayer or online competitive games struggle. And the answer is simple. No, that's it. That's the answer. It's simple. You can go into Fortnite having never played it, and you'll know what to do within just a couple of minutes of walking around. That's why it's so popular. Everyone can jump in and just play it. And I can say the exact same thing for Dead by Daylight. Anyone can instantly start playing it. Once you learn how to run in the game by just pressing one button, yeah, you pretty much got it. Now just press whatever button it tells you to press when it tells you to press it. However, with all the perks and special abilities, there's a ton of customization and depth to it, so if you find yourself enjoying it, then you can spend hours and hours digging deeper to find everything that this game has to offer. And that's how you make a live service work. You make it so anyone can jump in at any time, but you give them the depth to keep them coming back. But there's one other reason why this game succeeds as a live service where so many other titles fail. Dead by Daylight knows how to keep you playing. The game comes with a battle pass, and yes, I know that we all hate battle passes, but it's 2023, this is a live service game, it's going to be in there, we might as well accept it. But that battle pass is massive, and if you want to max it out, it's going to take you a while. However, at any given time, there's some kind of a mission board with special goals to achieve for both survivors and killers. And by achieving these goals, not only does it push you a lot further ahead on the battle pass, but also there will be special cosmetics that you can unlock just by going through these mission boards. And this is the big reason why I've been so addicted to this game over the past 2 years. I find myself thinking I'm done playing, but then I'll look at that mission board and I'll say, well, there's this mission here and I could probably knock that out in a single match. Then suddenly it's 3 hours later and I don't remember what happened. But by doing these missions, you don't just unlock cosmetics. No. You unlock something far more important than that. Something greater than gold, rarer than rubies, even better than whatever the hell this made-up currency thing is. Yeah, I've played this game for 7 years. I still don't know what the heck these little triangle things are called. No, by doing these missions, you unlock the one thing that no modern-day horror game can be without. Lore. Yeah, by doing these missions, you can unlock backstories on the killers and survivors, as well as unplayable characters who have stories that build up the whole lore around the giant space spider entity thing. And that brings me to the thing that I love the most about this game. If I haven't made it clear in the past month, I'm a big horror nut. And I know that when it comes to this game, everyone is going to mostly talk about the guest stars. Famous horror movie monsters like Leatherface, Freddy Krueger, the Xenomorph, Nicolas Cage, Ghostface, they're all in this game. But there is a massive lineup of original villains and heroes this game created. And sure, they're not all winners. I mean, does anyone like the twins? And the Skull Merchant? You escaped from an episode of G.I. Joe. You do not fit into this game at all. But the vast majority of them are actually really cool. These villains feel like they were created by die-hard horror nerds who have been studying for years how to come up with cool original monsters. Heck, even some of the lame ones, like the Singularity. Seriously, who thought this design was good? Nobody wants to play as a pile of junk being attached by flesh goo. And yet, when I'm reading up on his backstory, it's pretty damn good. It makes me overlook his goopy exterior for the haunted space horror inside. In fact, at the time of this recording, the studio has announced they're teaming up with Blumhouse Pictures to make a Dead by Daylight movie. And guys, in case you can hear me, do not make it like the game. Do not make a movie about a bunch of random survivors finding themselves lost in some location being hunted by various killers and they have to fix generators. Nobody wants that. Just pick one killer and one survivor. Then make a movie exploring their story. Then, if that's successful, do it with another villain and another hero. Don't even worry about trying to tie them all together in some kind of a cinematic universe or putting stingers at the end leading into each other. They can all just be their own standalone thing. Trust me, that's the secret to success on this one. That's how you help make each of these characters stand out and become new major icons. Don't worry about making a movie based on the game. Worry about making movies based on these really cool characters who just happen to be in this game. Although speaking of these characters, that does lead me into some of my problems with this game. When it comes to performance, the game runs pretty fine. Sometimes I run into a bug here or there, like one time the map just suddenly decided to turn to jello. Or maybe that's one of the powers of the dredge. I'm not sure what all this guy can do, but if anyone can make the land turn to jello, it's him. No, this game has so many characters in, and about 90% of them are DLC, which is bound to happen when a game has continuous updates over 7 years. But that's not all the DLC this game has. In addition to the characters and the battle pass, there are also brand new costumes constantly added to this game, and all of that combined means that every single week there is something new to buy in this game. And I mean that quite literally. Every single week, there is something new to spend money on in this game. So 2 things about that. This game still cost about $20 on its own, which when the game first launched, that was fine. $20 for this game? That's perfectly acceptable. But at this point, with all that DLC and all those cosmetics, there is no reason this game shouldn't just be free to play. It is insane that a game with this much DLC still costs money for the base game. Granted, again, $20, that's pretty cheap. If it was $60, I'd be raising a way bigger fuss. But it is still kind of shocking that they haven't just made it free, because they would absolutely still make their money off the DLC. But that's the other problem. These cosmetics are horribly priced. One costume for a killer can cost twice as much as the killer cost on its own. What the hell for? No costume should cost $15. That's maddening. Right, Street Fighter? Right, Street Fighter? Yeah, Street Fighter isn't listening. And what's crazy to me is that that's how much the big fancy costumes cost for all the killers. And the killers all play in first person, meaning you can't even see the costumes. Why are you spending so much money on a thing that you can't even see? Is it worth $15 just so that way the survivors can think right before they die, oh my god, he's going to kill me? Ooh, is that the special Greek mythology skin? Oh, very nice, very nice. That definitely looks good. All right. He's killing me. Why would anyone spend that kind of money on these? No, seriously, tell me, why did I spend that kind of money on these? I can't justify it, but they made a skin for the Xenomorph that looks like he was gene spliced with a jack-o'-lantern, and what am I supposed to do? Not buy that? I'm not made of stone! But the other big problem I have with Dead by Daylight is, as I said, the gameplay is great. It's simple and understandable, and it's because of that this gameplay hasn't changed in 7 years. So yeah, the gameplay needs to change. Don't get me wrong, the game has changed in certain small ways gradually over time. Any game lasting this long will. But after all this time, yeah, you still go into a map, still fix 5 generators, still open the door, still trying to get out, killer still tries to put you up on hooks. That's still the basic game. But after all this time, we need some kind of a new mode. Each Halloween, the game creates these little bonus objectives that change the game up a little bit, and they're nice, but they're not much, and they're only here for like 2 weeks. I really feel like this game needs to create some kind of a brand new permanent mode. Something new for players to do in this game. Keep the original game as it is, keep that in there as the main thing that you do in the game, but I would love it if they had some kind of an additional mode with different objectives just to give me something new to do. My suggestion? Make some kind of a mode where the objective isn't to fix the generators and escape. The goal is to actually defeat the killer. Like, let's say that each killer has their own unique map, and on that map, there will be brand new objectives specific to that killer. And by doing these objectives, you can actually defeat the monster. Like, the Oni has a map, and on that map, there's a mask, and that mask will whisper to you if you stand next to it. That's great, that's some lore, that adds some depth to the mystery around the Oni. So why not make a mode where the 4 survivors can actually do something with that mask in order to affect the Oni? Let's say you have some mode in this game, and you go into that map, and you're being chased down by the Oni, and the Oni is trying to kill you like they always do, but if you interact with this mask, then it can take you to a place. It opens up some brand new room. Then you can perform some kind of a ritual. Then you get a weapon. And then you can do some other stuff. And then you and your team can all come together to take down the Oni before it kills each of your teammates. It would be great and would add even more personality to these killers, which, as I said, is one of my favorite things about this game. As I said, they all have their own unique abilities, and that's great, but giving them all some unique way of taking them down that ties in their own personal lore and their own personal maps, that would be perfect. But that's just my idea. It could be anything. I just want some kind of a brand new objective. And sadly, I don't think we're going to get anything like that in Dead by Daylight until this game starts to sweat. I know in the last episode I went on some big rant about how I don't want every single horror game based on a horror movie to just be some multiplayer game. But at the same time, I am rooting for one of these games to actually make it work. Because I want someone out there to come in here and eat Dead by Daylight's lunch. I want someone to come in here and make them start to worry and go, oh crap, maybe we shouldn't just keep making new skins every single week, and maybe we should try something brand new in here. Don't get me wrong, the new killers do keep the game feeling fresh after all this time, but I want someone to come in here and make the DBD team think, we need to throw something big and fresh in here. I mean, the team does a fine job of keeping this game running. I congratulate them for doing that after all this time. That is no easy task. But it does feel sometimes like they might be too comfortable with this game. For example, there has been a problem in this game from day one, where the killers will put someone on a hook. Then they just stand there and camp the site. They do that because if they're standing right next to a hook survivor, that hook survivor can't be rescued. You can't exactly go up and rescue someone if the killer is just standing there like a linebacker blocking your way. And this has been a problem in this game since day one. And the developers finally put in place a mechanic to stop this just this month. It took 7 years for them to fix something that was a problem from the very beginning. And I can't help but feel like if the DBD team had stronger competition, maybe they would have gotten to that a little bit sooner. However, despite these problems, all the positives of this gameplay and the great imaginative cast of characters combined with all those missions that give me something to keep coming back to, yeah, it will keep me addicted to this game for a long time to come. But so will one of the game's biggest positives: the community. Don't get me wrong, this is an online competitive game. I'm positive there's a ton of salty a-holes out there. I'm certain there's a ton of horrible posts on Reddit and Twitter that I'm avoiding. But the vast majority of the players that I see online just come off as really positive, supportive, good dudes. And I see a lot of that in the game itself. Sure, there are some jerks, but I can't tell you how many matches I've run into where the other survivors were standout heroes, risking it all to heal and rescue other players, or how often the killers realized they were done for, so they just had fun with the rest of the game. Like, I love it when you're about to escape, and rather than the killer coming in there and just trying to take you out, they just stare at you and give you the little head nod like that bearded nature guy in the memes. Like he's just saying, yeah, good job, that'll do. And that's the other key to a successful live service game. You need that community there to carry it, and I'm glad that a game like this has found that community. So there you go, folks, Dead by Daylight. Listen, I know that it's not like some weird little niche thing out there, but at the same time, it's not something that just everybody is constantly talking about, but also it's not like a weird nostalgic throwback. It's what every live service game that's continued to be a success for more than 5 years has become. It's just kind of there. It's just something that everybody's aware of. It'd be like doing a review on League of Legends. Like, why? Everybody knows what this thing is by now. But you know what? I just enjoy this game so much. I've been wanting to do a video talking about it for the longest time, so I'm glad that I finally got to get it out there. So let me know, have you guys checked this game out? If you have checked it out, who do you enjoy playing as? Do you enjoy Survivor? Do you enjoy Killer? Which character is your favorite to play as? Let me know all that and more down in the comments down below. Thank you guys very much for tuning in for another episode of Thorgiween. We are now past the halfway point, so we're closing in on the final couple of videos. So if you want to see those, make sure that you click that subscribe button down there and come back next time. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Stay safe out there, and happy Halloween.
There's an odd, unexplained phenomenon haunting Pizza Hut. Is it another worldly spirit compelling these people to eat?
Nothing could tear me away from my Count Chocula cereal. Who's that?
It's me, Elvira, telling you that without Coors and Coors Light this Halloween, your friends will get ugly without their masks.